stitcher. It has been a while since my last video. I think almost a whole year, maybe even a little bit more. So if you're a new viewer, hi, welcome in. And if you're a returning viewer, thanks for coming back, I guess. I'm still stitching. I wasn't really sure for a while what I was going to show in this video. I thought about doing like a whip parade to remind kind of everyone what I'd been working on, but ultimately I decided that might be a little bit overwhelming and would also be just a lot to pull out on my part. So I was at the Essex Needles Retreat at the weekend and I had a wonderful time, and I kind of decided I'd show you some of my haul from there, some of the whips I've been working on, and yeah, I thought that would be a nice way to break myself back into the Flosstube routine. So without much further ado, I'll get you started on some of my haul. We're starting off strong with a raffle win. This is Snort Stack by Plum Street Samplers. If you haven't seen this specific one, you might have seen like any in the series that do basically like three to four animals stacked on top of each other. I think they're really cute. I might be doing a more of a start along maybe with a friend on this one later on the year. So I haven't picked any like fabric or floss or anything with it. I just think it's a really cute pattern and I want it, so that's always nice. Next up I have 3 patterns that I bought myself at the weekend. I hadn't really intended to buy much, but I haven't bought anything since the last time I was at a retreat in September, and then before that I hadn't bought anything since March. So I felt I was okay to buy some stuff. And one of the shops there was Talking Dog Stitchery, and she had some really cool patterns that I just, I couldn't help myself. First one is really cute. This is Welcome to Our Patch by Annie B's Folk Art. It's written in like a circle down here, and I was like, what are those words going? Not sure. But I really like this pattern. I've got the floss, and I normally stitch on 32 count, but the packaging says this was done on a 28 count, and I actually really like how it looks. So I'm going to do it on a very similar oatmeal 28 count even weave. I think it would be really cute. For anyone who doesn't know, I bought a house in 2022 and we are still renovating it. The living room hasn't been done yet, but when I do it up, the plan is that it will be like orange, yellows, golds, that kind of colour palette. So this could go in the living room. Who knows, I might even be finished by the time I get around to renovating the living room. Next up is a designer I've seen a lot of online and I really like her quirky style. This is the Flower Pot Sampler by the Artsy Housewife. If you haven't seen her stuff, I recommend you check it out. She uses like really bold colours. You can see some of them here. I didn't fully get it up. Whenever I do eventually do this, I know I'm going to not do the alphabet because I'm just not a huge alphabet sampler stitcher. Yeah. I kind of picked up this one. There were a few of her patterns in stock, again at Talking Dog Stitchery, but I was drawn to this one because of the colours and I just think it's really cool. My final pattern that I had to show you, I honestly can't believe I've never seen this before because it's so cool. This is White Winter Moth by Kathy Bark. I wonder, it came out 2022, the packaging says. Yeah, I'm still kind of surprised I haven't seen this. I tried to find a fabric for this at the weekend and I couldn't quite find anything that really sang to me as much as this did. So I might even see about getting the sand linen from Fibre on a Whim whenever I eventually get around to stitching this. I did, however, pick up the threads. The original was stitched with needlepoint silk, but they give DMC options. And I was kind of surprised to see that when I look at that, I think that looks like blacks and greys, but apparently they are various shades of sea green, which I also think will be really cool. Yeah, I just don't know what fabric to do this on though. The picture is stitched on 40 count, and I think that might be the way to go, maybe. Let me know if you have any fabric ideas, if you think I should stick with what's in the picture, if you can think of another kind of like mottled neutral, yeah, one that will go well with various shades of sea green. Please let me know. And the final piece of my haul I want to show you is a project bag that I picked up at the weekend. So for context, I saw this bag on the Friday and I was like, oh, this is really cool, but I don't technically need more project bags. I don't technically need any project bags. I can use those plastic zip folders, but I was like, I like project bags. And then I came down the Saturday morning and I found myself going to the project or to the shop table. These bags are made by Susie. And I realised that I was actually checking to see if this bag was still there. So I sat down at the table with my cup of tea and I'm like, I think I'd be really sad if someone else had bought that bag. So I bought it for me. This is really fun. It's a tulip pink fabric, I know that much. The colours are really like fun and jazzy. The raccoons are really cool, and I love that the more you look, you see like there's a bin there. There's a possum on an apple core top, like a can of cola. It's a fun. It looks like a classy floral pattern, and the more you look at it, the more you realize it's literal rubbish. Okay, sorry, I've dropped some stuff on the ground. Bear with me a moment. My whips are trying to get away from me. Don't blame them. Next up, I actually forgot that this was a new to you guys haul because I picked this up in September. This is another project bag by Susie. Again, her stuff is just beautiful. She's such a tidy sewist. Is that the word? Way tidier than my attempts at project bags, I'll tell you that. I've got two projects in here at the moment. One is a night walk down by Blue Flower that I haven't touched. It's just in there for a place to store it. But this other pattern is new. This is Flying Lessons by Silver Creek Samplers. I thought it was really cool. I love that it looks like it's some sort of advertisement poster. I think it would be nice to have it for Halloween. And I made a start on this in September. I haven't done a ton, I'll admit it to you. Unfortunately, I don't remember where the fabric's from. I found, so this is obviously half the piece, and I found the other half, and I don't have a label on it. I have no idea. I'm really sorry. If anyone knows where this might be from, let me know. I'd say I probably bought this fabric at the last September retreat, but I don't quite remember. It's this really fun grey with like faint green mottling throughout. I'm not sure how well the camera will pick it up, but I thought it was really appropriate for such a witchy Halloweeny pattern. As you can see, I've not done a ton on it. Part of me thinks that it would be a quick stitch, and then I remind myself that that hat and that moon is pretty big. It is mostly block stitching though, and I feel if you dedicated your time to it, it might not be fast, but at least it would be mindless stitching, the kind you can do while you're watching something on TV or maybe commuting. Yeah, I might try to get up to those big bits, do the outline, and leave a solid block colour for me to fill in for whenever I have the time to do some mindless stitching. Okay, now I think we're properly on to my whips. One of these is actually going to be a new start for you guys. I started this last September with some other people who go to the Essex Retreat house. I don't have a physical pattern to show you, but I will pop in a picture of what the finished thing should look like and show you my whip. Oh, it feels so good to be showing you guys whips again. This is, like I said, Retreat House. The text here in the original pattern does say Retreat House. I changed this to Essex Retreat because that's the primary retreat that I go to. I've been to other retreats, specifically the Nobam and Bella Filipino retreats, and they were wonderful. And their organizer, Zarina, is fantastic, and I would love to be able to go back to them. They're just unfortunately a little hard to get to, and yeah, I suppose I just can't afford time or money to go to all of the retreats that I'd love to go to. Yeah, at the weekend we all pulled out our whips and one finish of Retreat House, and it was really, really sweet to see this project that we'd all started together, and the Sunday morning we were all working on it together, and it's kind of cool to see how people will approach the same project in different ways. Like you can see, a lot of the people stitched the house first, and that's where I started, but I have left some of the fill in blank. Like I was doing this for a while on my commute, and I think I'd filled in the roof. I've been doing some of that blue-grey colour fill in because I just had to take one thread with me, and I wouldn't have to worry about changing colours or looking at a pattern while on my train. Like my train is only about 30 minutes. I actually started a new job in August, but I'm going to save my life updates until after the stitching. Next up is a pattern that I haven't shown on this channel in a while, because I haven't stitched on her in a while. This is Andromeda by Mirabilia. I was going to say Bella Filipina, I'm like, that's not right. I started this in 2021. It should be finished by now. It's not. Don't know what to tell you. A friend of mine that digitizes patterns will share the digital file with me because I can prove that I own the paper pattern, essentially. So I was debating, I was like, I feel like I've got a lot of this stitched. Is it worth getting the digital pattern? And then I realized when I was working on it at the weekend, I was like, oh, I'm looking at the paper pattern. I keep trying to zoom in. Sometimes I'll take like a picture with my tablet and then zoom in from there, but it's hard to mark off. And if I like change the piece that I'm working on, or like move areas to a new picture, it doesn't, obviously the new picture doesn't know where I've worked on, so it doesn't have the old markings. So here she is, looking gorgeous. At the weekend, I was really proud of myself. I spent most of the day working on the big ass rock she's sitting on. I did a lot of the greys, and that little strip of purple and whatever greens were left. So I caved eventually, and I messaged my friend. I was like, hey, I know you mentioned that you had Andromeda digitized. Can I have it? And my thinking was that I would basically colour in the pattern referencing what I'd marked off on my flight home on Sunday. And I did, and it took me a while actually. I'd say it probably took about an hour to mark everything off. I have 48% of this pattern done. I thought I'd weigh more. I obviously didn't think I was near finished, but I thought I would have had maybe 60 to 70% of it done. And knowing that I'm only halfway there, I don't know how I feel about that. It's not discouraging, but it's certainly not a boost to my confidence. It might be motivation to work on her some more, and I think I will work on her some more today. The other love of my life, Black Patty, she's in a similar position, but I was actually aware of that. I'd hoped at the end of 2024 to be halfway done with her. I didn't quite hit it. I think I was like 48.9%, something really, really close, but I just didn't make it. I am now over the halfway mark. She's at like 52, 53%. Black Patty, I'm just gonna hide behind her for a minute. I love her. She's gorgeous. Those colours are absolutely beautiful. I mentioned earlier that I want my living room to be in those colours. So she'll go in the living room when I'm done. And again, I'm actually working off a digitized version of this pattern, but I do own the physical one. But I was like, how am I only halfway through? Part of it being she's so bloody tall. Also, her dress does curve in a little bit more at the bottom, but it does flare out by quite a lot. And then I looked at the beads, and it was telling me that I had 1,908 beads to stitch. I was like, that can't be right. Nearly 2,000 beads. So I was chatting to Susie, the lady who makes those beautiful project bags, who has stitched like a patty, and I was like, Susie, my app is telling me 2,000 beads. That can't be right, can it? And she looks at me dead serious and she's like, no, that's about right. I'm like, oh. And I posted in a cross stitch Discord I'm in asking another lady who was stitching this to think if she felt the same, and she didn't really know. But someone who digitizes patterns checked their other Bella Filipinas that they have digitized and said not only was this correct, but the other patterns they looked at, some of them went up to 3,000 beads. I thought that once I was done with the stitching, I would have a few hundred beads to do at most. I thought the beads would be like, I don't know, like a couple of evenings of stitching. I'm speechless. I don't have the words. I love beading. I think it's beautiful, and I'm really, really excited to see what a piece with 2,000 beads looks like. For reference, Andromeda, the app is telling me that she has about 500 to 600 beads in her. And I think most of those beads are from the jewellery in her arm. And she's got some sort of like sparkly head thing going on. And then she's got some chains around her leg as well. There might be some beads in the waves, probably around the bit where it's meant to look like the sea spray. So yeah, moral of the story is fancy ladies have a lot of beads, especially Bella Filipinas. I think the like lunar deities, the one that's like Maya, Haiyan, I can't remember the third one, but the trio of like the moon, night and dawn, something like that. They have a lot of beads. They're the ones that are up there with the high 2,000s, 3,000 beads, which is just mind-blowing. I'm sure they're beautiful. Like, it would be so worth it to see that hanging on my wall, professionally framed with the like non-reflective art glass. And I already know I'm going to go with Hawkins Hobbies in the UK for my framing. It will be well worth whatever the cost is. I will, however, have to figure out how to get it home. I will think about that when the time comes, which probably won't be for another while. I'm so reluctant to put times on my stitching now because I feel like I massively underestimate how long stitching will actually take. And while I'm doing it, while I'm seeing the progress happen, I'm like, oh, this is a great rate of progress. I'm really happy with how fast I'm stitching. And then I realized that like, oh, that's 2% of the total piece. And it's like, oh, okay, fine. That's all the stitching I'm going to show you for today. I'll be honest, I hadn't been stitching as much the last few months as I would like to. I seemed to have developed some sort of contact allergy to whatever needles I was using, because I would stitch and then these two fingers that I hold the needle with would break out in these teeny tiny blisters, and they'd be quite painful and itchy. So obviously that didn't make me want to stitch as much because I was afraid that it was going to break out. I'm really pleased to say at the weekend that whatever needles I was using, they were older needles because I went to older projects and actually pulled out the old needles that I knew I did not react to in the past. They were fine, so I must try to find out what brand those needles were and stick to them, basically. I have a couple of other whips that I've made smaller bits of progress on. I might show them in my next video. Maybe my plan for now is to really get a lot of focus in on Lakapati and Andromeda. It's not that they're anywhere near a finish, and in some ways that's a little disheartening because I would love to be in a place where I can be like, oh, you know, a couple more weeks of concentrated stitching and they'll be finished. but I'm not in that case, and I just have to be realistic, so I won't be disappointed. Um, I'm going to move on to some life updates now. So if you're just here for the stitching, thank you so much for watching. I'm hoping to make these a lot more often than once a year for sure. But if you're in for some life updates, stick around. If you notice behind me, these are wardrobes. I'm in my bedroom at the moment. We finished our bedroom kind of late last year, early this year, depending on what you think finished means. We got like all of the floors done, new bed, custom wardrobes, these gorgeous bedside lockers, and it's so nice to have a room that is entirely mine. I picked everything out. I've got a really nice rug that actually Alan picked out, and initially I was like, I don't know how I feel about it, but it's your room too, so that's fine. And the rug arrived, and I'm like, stunning, beautiful. Pick more rugs. It just goes to show, like, I don't know. I need to trust his opinions more, maybe. Not that I don't. What else have we done? I think we had our office done the last time I was filming. God, I feel like I'm forgetting something. We're getting the bathrooms done next. They're coming this week to do like a 3D mock-up of everything we want. We've been out to some showrooms, we've seen all the tiles and everything, and it's really exciting. It's quite a small bathroom, so I love the idea of like packing in loads of storage and making the most out of that small space. Oh, it's exciting. LARP season hasn't started back up yet. For anyone who doesn't know, LARP is live action roleplay. Think something like Dungeons and Dragons, but the idea is that you physically dress up, move about, and bodily act out the character. But that's starting back up at the end of April. I haven't done any sewing projects for my costumes this year. I think they're in a decent place. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with the costumes. But what I have been working on is my music. For anyone who doesn't know, I play the accordion and piano. They're my primary instruments. I own a guitar and a dulcimer, and I can play them. But I suppose my accordion is my main focus at the moment. The LARP I attend in England, I play a bard, a musician style character, and I'm honestly like really pleased by how much people appreciate the accordion. I almost think that here in Ireland, people are so used to the Irish trad music that it's just like, yeah, whatever, I've heard that before. But I take it to the UK, and people are so appreciative, so complimentary. It's really, really lovely. And it's, I don't know, I feel like it's given me a new lease on my music. I've been like songwriting, I've been composing some pieces. There's a competition at the game at the end of April to compose a technical piece, so I've written a waltz for that. Um, it's just really exciting to feel like I have this outlet that, like, oh, I'm not just practicing for the sake of practicing. I'm practicing because I've got a booking at the end of April, and they're going to pay me pretend game money that can be exchanged for real food. Still counts. Yeah, it's really fun. It's like this alternate universe where I became a musician, but don't actually have to worry about paying my bills or anything like that. I've been keeping up with other hobbies. I've been crocheting a little, I've been reading, I've started swimming again. I used to be an avid swimmer when I was younger, and late last year I decided that I wanted to relearn that skill basically, and I'm going 3-4 times a week now before work. Oh, it's so nice. I feel so relaxed. I get out of the pool, I'm set up for the day, oh, I love it. It's been a great improvement. Oh, speaking of doing things before work, I started my new job last August. So I've been there, I've been there like 7 to 8 months now, which is wild. I'm working in safety legislation in the Department of Health, which I find really interesting. I was going to say, like, oh, it's boring to a lot of people. That's not fair to me. I like it. I love it. I joined the work choir. We did a couple of performances around Christmas. There's been bake sales, pub quizzes. So it's just been nice to be in like a bigger office and have that slightly more active social life. So yeah, that's my update. I'm happy to say that they're all positive. Life's pretty good at the moment. The only way it could be better is, I suppose, if I had more stitching. Yeah, no, we'd all say that, I'm sure. Um, Thanks again for watching. I really appreciate it. Let me know what down below what you've been working on, what you've been getting up to. If you think I should have like a patty done by now, I agree. But please be kind, be gentle. Thank you so much. Bye.